Okay, so we are live on Facebook. Welcome to the second session of the Preparing for the Software Industry for ages 8 and up. So in the last class, which was on the 30th of January, we covered a few topics like we saw the profile of a typical large software organization, and we saw what it meant to go public, initial public offering, IPO, startups, and we also saw how some companies' revenue is more than the GDP of a few countries, some of the countries. So with just 76,000 employees, some companies are able to produce more GDP, gross domestic product, than some countries with millions of people. So that is the strength of technology, right? That is the greatness of technology, the power of technology.
Really big, right?
Yeah. So now let us take a peek into the functioning of such a software organization. Let us look at the some of the organizations, some of the teams that are in a large software organization. So the software organization typically has, there could be some variations to what you're seeing on the slide, and some of the functions listed here, functions or groups, may be combined together in some organizations, and or maybe split also. For instance, program management could be split into project management, program planning, and things like that. So you could either expand on these functions, or some of the functions could be together. For instance, QA, operations, tech pubs, they all could be part of the engineering organization. But this is a typical scenario of a software organization. So you have product management.
Is it the biggest group?
Yeah, good question. It is not the biggest group, but it is still listed on the top. Why?
Is it most important?
Sort of. Because some of the CEOs today, the chief executive officers of companies, that means they are number one employees of the company.
Like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg?
Yes, Steve Jobs is no longer with us, but Mark Zuckerberg, or Sundar Pichai, or Satya Nadella. So they were actually product managers. Like Satya Nadella, when he was a product manager, he was actually a vice president, I think, at that time for the cloud operations of Microsoft. He came to a big conference called TiCon, and he gave a talk there. So I still remember his talk from that conference. So at that time, he was a product manager. So product management is a very important function, and product managers have a greater chance of growth. They are. So what is product management? Can you tell me what is product management?
Like maybe.
What do you think is product management?
Like maybe for monitoring the products and like different types of iPhones that go out and stuff.
Okay, Aditya had some answer. Come closer.
So I think it's something to do with the products, like what they sell. Whatever the software products are, they have to, put them into order, or how they sell it.
Yeah, they're responsible for the overall success of the products in a company.
Isn't that the main?
That's actually most important because that's what most of the people. That's
Yes.
what.
Yes. So, like I mentioned, I think Satya Nadella was handling the cloud products of Microsoft. There's a we'll also talk what cloud means, cloud computing means, but for now, just think that it's a product. It's a suite of products. It's not just a single product, but it's a number of products which come in that category. So he was managing all those products. So these product managers, they are responsible for the product from the development stage to the market stage, to the selling stage. So they are completely responsible for the product. So they get involved in daily guidance to the developers. So they talk to the developers. The developers are the engineers who develop the product, right? So they work with the products, with the engineers, and make sure that the product is what the market really needs. So they play a very important role in the success of product. And if a product is successful, the company is successful. And if the company is successful, the shareholders are successful, right? Who does the company belong to?
Basically,
company
everything
belongs to
on
the-
top.
Yeah, everyone who holds the stock is the owner of the company. It is not just the CEO, right? So
Do most of the things, but it's also the other groups.
yeah, Aditi, you're not very audible. Can you come closer or increase the microphone volume or something?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, thanks. So, so that is about product management. They make a lot of decisions for the company. So, for instance, some of the marketing decisions also are made by the product managers. Like, for instance, when in Cisco, I mean, I don't want to name companies, but product managers make a lot of calls, so they can decide whether to. They can even decide whether to remove contractual. For instance, if somebody wants to try out your product, the company
Yes.
product, they typically get into a contract.
Oh,
You all sign contract, right?
yeah.
Like when you start a new account with Zoom or other, like you open a Gmail account.
Like when you get like memberships or scholarships, or when
No, yeah, that is there. But even when you try a product, software product online, like when you sign up for Zoom, you sign a contract, right?
Like a 7-day free thing, like a 7-day.
Yes, 7-day trial is one of the.
Trial, they usually give that for most of the products to give an idea.
Yeah,
oh, like when you download a new app, there's a pop-up saying, "Do you agree to our terms
Exactly.
of
Yeah,
service?"
I have one of those things. We have this Avast free thing to protect the computer, and there's a 7-day trial.
Yeah, that's right. So the 7-day trials and all that stuff. So they make a lot of decisions with respect to the products.
How many people are in product management? Because if it's only one or two, then they could probably ruin the company based on their judgment. Shouldn't there be like a lot of people to make sure that the decision taken is a good decision?
Yeah, maybe most people are in the product management group.
Yeah, it depends on the company. It depends on the company, the business strategy, and the stage the company is in. So
What about when the product is like? What about when the brand is like most popular?
when the brand is most popular, then we
Don't
don't.
you think more people have to work work on the product
Yeah,
management?
we still need product managers, right? Even though the product is already popular, the brand is well known in the market, we still
Don't they have to make more of that? So they will be still working on how to make it better.
exactly, they'll still work on how to make it better.
So
See,
then
product,
Because they want to keep it up.
yeah. So like this Microsoft Word that you all use, right?
Yes.
That has been there for several decades, some decades now, right? Um, and are there product managers for Microsoft Word? Yes. Although it is very popular, the brand is selling in the market, there are still product managers for Microsoft Office suite, right? Microsoft Word is one of the Microsoft Office products, right? The Office is called suite. Microsoft Office is called a suite.
What about
Yeah,
PowerPoint?
like the
PowerPoint
whole,
too?
yeah, they are all part of the suite,
so like Excel sheets, Word.
right? They're all
PowerPoint.
suite. It's a
They're
suite
like default
product.
apps.
Oh, so is it like how app like Audible and Kindle and Amazon are all part of Amazon? So then Amazon is the suite?
Amazon is a company. Amazon is the company, but the good example for suite is this Microsoft Office, right? So
Yeah.
PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, Excel, all these are used for what?
Right.
Online making stuff.
Office,
Yeah.
right? Typically Office. Office, you use a lot of. Originally, those were mostly used for Office.
They are.
Yeah,
Still.
even today it is like that. That's right. But even students and everyone uses these days. But the primary purpose of those products is still Office. So that is the reason why every office, you take any office in this world,
They'll probably use
they will
that.
probably use Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Microsoft Excel. So that's why they've appropriately called that suite as Microsoft Office. And all these individual products, Word, Excel, and what is that, PowerPoint, they're all products in that suite. So there is a manager for that product suite, typically. So the product evolves, right? Long back, I still remember Microsoft Word when you had to use control characters for highlighting and for making it block and things
Like
like that.
CTRL-Z,
Yeah.
CTRL-C, and V, and sometimes even B for bold.
Yes. So in back in those days, those characters would be shown in the prompt on the at the top. So you would
Like shortcuts.
yeah, shortcuts were shown, not shortcuts. Yeah, you can think of them like that.
So then if something was covering that top bar, like notifications or something, you would have to memorize all of them, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that is the reason why it used to be shown on the top, because there was no concept of mouse.
There wasn't a mouse, and how
Yeah,
would you
long back.
scroll
There's no scrolling.
and go to from app to app?
There's no scrolling. There's only one app that you would be working on, and you just type into it and things like that. So it has come a long way. Software has come a long way, and along with software, the products have also software products also have come a long way. And one of the primary players, primary responsibility for evolving the product is with the product management. So they, yeah.
So there are only one product management, or like a handful, or are
There are
like
many
tons?
actually. There are many product managers.
Like for like a, let's say 100 person business, would there be like only 1 or 2% of it? be
It
product
depends. It all
management, or
depends
like
on the
10%?
strategy. It depends. For instance, if it's a startup, so what is advised in a startup is that the startup, the founders are typically coders. A software startup um, um,
A startup is a new company, right?
is a new company, and these founders have an idea in their mind, and they start implementing that idea using software. So they start coding in language like Python or Java or JavaScript and things like that. So they start coding, but as soon as the product is a little bit ready, and they get some money, what is advised is that the founder should convert himself or herself into a product manager. They should no longer focus on coding. They should instead do product management. They should evolve the product. So that's the reason why product management is very important. So the next comes program management. What is program management?
Maybe the inside logic of the
Yeah, program management is not program, like not software program. When we say program management, it means managing programs in a software organization.
So like making sure everything gets done on time.
Exactly, making sure everything gets on time, gets done on time.
To be a program manager, don't you have to be a people person?
Yes.
Like encourage them and like make them
exactly. You have to be a people person also. In addition to being good at technical skills, the program manager needs to be good at people skills also. So program managers can make a whole lot of difference.
But if all of the people, like if, well, I mean, I know people aren't good, like, but if all of the other people, like the QAs and engineers and marketing and training people, were all motivated on their own, then we wouldn't exactly need program management, right?
That's right, but typically that is not the case, right? I mean, program managers play a very critical role. See, about program manager management is a recent phenomena. Actually, it's it's not.
So they're kind of like the president of a student council, because
yeah, it's
because they they're kind
I
of
don't know why it's echoing. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, so program management came into existence about 10 or 15 years back. Before that, it wasn't there. It was Microsoft which pioneered this program management. But interestingly, program managers in Microsoft are called product managers.
But then what are product managers called?
Yeah, that is an interesting. So they do both the program management and product management in
Under
some
the name
companies.
of product management.
Yeah. So because remember, product management is also making sure that the product is all
same like program management, but just
yeah.
a little bit different.
Yeah. So program management is making sure that the program, the entire program of developing the software product and testing it and the operations part of it, all that is done in a timely manner. That is the role of a program manager, to ensure that it's all done smoothly and in a timely manner.
So they're like almost like leaders, like supervisors, and also problem solvers.
Yes, they should be very good problem solvers.
So they're kind of like teachers, or like for example, when we did the tech challenge last time, our supervisor, they would look over the project, supervise it, and make sure everything goes to time and we finish it by the deadline. And then they would also, if we came across a problem, they would try to fix it on their own. So they helped, and then they also supervised.
Yes. So so there are different organizations, right? In the product development, like I listed here, design and development, engineering, operations, tech pubs. So there could be conflicts between these teams, right? For instance, the QA team might say that we can't meet this deadline, we are low on resources. and we cannot give the feedback to the developers very quickly. So the program manager has to think about it. He has to solve that problem. Yeah, he has to find a solution. Talking to the senior management. Program managers typically interact with really senior management.
So everybody, basically.
Yeah, typically everyone involved in the product and really high level management like vice presidents and senior directors and
They
all that.
meet with the vice president,
Yeah,
like directly.
yeah. The vice presidents call them and ask them for. So they're problem solvers. It's a very challenging role.
So they're basically innovators. They work on the project and also solve problems.
Yeah, sometimes if somebody is stuck technically, some technical discussions also they have to get engaged. So they need to be good technically also. So that is program management.
Are there a lot? Because it would be hard to find a lot of people who are both technically and socially.
So there are some companies who believe that program managers need not be very technical. Because what is needed there is to make sure that the entire organization is flowing smoothly. All the operations are flowing smoothly. Everything is happening smoothly. So some companies give lower priority to the technical part of it. So there are some program managers who have no technical knowledge at all, zero technical knowledge.
But then couldn't they hire kids to do that? Because some kids are really, really good with people.
No.
They would easily be able to manage.
That's what many people tend to think. But once you get into the job, you will know the difficulties. It is not at all easy for the inexperienced to deal with people, because there are so many. The environment is very challenging. It's a very dynamic environment. There are so many problems, and the problem solvers can really get stuck when different sorts of questions come up. So program management really needs a lot of experience and lots of insights, people skills, and all that. So, so if you remove the technical part, because technical part is anyway a small component, it is pretty much open to anyone. So that is the reason why program management, there's a lot of competition. There are many people who want to be program managers, who are already program managers, and things like that.
So there aren't enough jobs for all of them?
Yeah, so it's very competitive. Yeah, you can think of it like that. There are some program managers who don't have any technical background, but do an excellent job once they get into program management. Because of their people skills and problem solving skills and things like that.
But if somebody had people skills, wouldn't they probably go on to do something else, like become entrepreneurs or work at like an exchange program or something?
Yeah, they could do that. If somebody is really that enterprising, they could become entrepreneurs. They could start their own companies, and so on and so forth.
So for like people who aren't like born into businessing the program and are still good at people skills, they would go into program management?
Yeah, they can think of going for program management. So program management again it essentially is project management, right? Project. So program is supposed to comprise of multiple projects. Program is an umbrella term for many projects. So so project manager manages a small portion of the program, the project part of the program. But program is typically comprised of many projects. So that is the difference between project management and program management. Program is much more comprehensive, right? So that is program management. And the next is design and development. So there are engineers who design.
Like for example, in Apple, people who design how the MacBook actually works and functions and the
Yes.
board
Yeah.
and everything.
Yes. So some of the engineers, they don't work on the computer at all. I mean, these days everyone is working on computer. For everything we use computer. But a few years back, some of the designers would not work on the computer at all.
Wait, few as in 10 or?
Yeah, about 15 years back. There were engineers who would not do any work on the computer.
So hardware workers.
Okay, Aditi has a question. Yeah, so what is the question, Aditi?
It was about program management. So, it's kind of a weird question. It's like, what if, since technology can do almost anything, do you think robots can take over the job of program management?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually.
But when,
Yeah,
Yeah, since technology might be improving sometime, could there be a chance that they can take over like people-y stuff?
well,
that's a good question because what AI is touching, artificial intelligence is touching many functions. I mean, typically, I mean, the thought is that there is no function in this world which is not threatened by artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is becoming more and more capable. But in terms of program management, I think it is something that artificial intelligence may not be able to take over in, at least in the near future. Why? Because program management is a very demanding skill. I mean, very human skill. It's imagine talking to people and then solving their problems and
Yeah, it makes more sense because you make up those questions yourself.
wouldn't robots be better in the more technical side rather than the people side? Because robots are programmed to do things, but you can't exactly program people. You can't exactly program to answer people because people themselves aren't very predictable or programmable.
yeah.
Ask any question.
Yeah, you could ask questions. You can build a chat bot, right? So we can build a chat bot with information fed into it, so that chat bot can answer questions and things like that.
Technical questions.
Technical questions also. Technical,
Kind of like Alexa.
yeah. So that is not a challenge.
Alexa.
Yeah.
So
It would be really expensive to build something that good. Like there was this robot Sophia was able to like understand stuff. Like there's a video of her saying what she felt about robots, people thinking about robots taking over the world. She understood it, but Sophia is like a world-class robot, and to have those many robots would be really, really expensive, wouldn't it?
Expensive is one thing. The other thing is some functions, particularly the management function, it is not easy to automate. It's not easy to convert it using artificial intelligence, right? Because it's an art. Anything that's an art is slightly difficult. It may be possible, but at this time it sounds difficult. Like even arts like literature, writing, and music, generating pictures, all this is being taken over by artificial intelligence. These are all arts, right? These are but management is a little more demanding. It's a lot more challenging for artificial intelligence to take over at this time. But that's a very good question. We can. It's actually an open research question. The question that you asked, Aditi. So maybe somebody can look into those aspects of using artificial intelligence for management functions.
Maybe artificial intelligence won't work, but what if they might make up something with artificial intelligence?
What was that question?
If artificial won't work, what if they make something with artificial intelligence?
So makes, yeah, that is an open question that still needs to be addressed. But as far as I can see, management is really it's an irreplaceable skill. I think. Yeah, it cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence at this time, because it requires lots and lots of experience, insights, and interactions. So I think it's a challenge, but yes, that is something that can be addressed in the future.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can't like the robots take over the part, like the technical part, like when you're like the smart question asking things? Can't like robots take over that part, like do half of the management, but the people could do the other?
Yes, yes, that's right. That's a good idea actually. So not everything about program management, technical program management can be automated by artificial intelligence at this time. At least nobody tried so far. But you're right. You can probably start with in small chunks, small functions. So you can first automate the technical part of it, then maybe see what else can be automated using artificial intelligence. Yeah, that's also a very good point. So yeah, good questions. Okay, so the next function is design and development. So yeah, we were talking about design, right? So there are some engineers who used to work only on paper and pen, using paper and pen. They wouldn't use a computer at all.
So they just draw like
Right,
designs?
design and drawing and equations, modeling.
So those would be like people like mathematicians.
Yeah, they are very good at math, these designers.
Can't they just use a calculator though? I mean, that's an
No,
invention,
that is calculator is arithmetic. Math is like
Huh?
differential equations. So there's a lot of math. Software is basically applied math. Computer
Applied math?
science, yeah, computer.
Isn't applied math basically algebra?
Applied math is not algebra. Algebra is math, and if you apply algebra for some applications, then it becomes applied math. So software and computer science is just applied math. You use a lot of math. Most of the fund, for instance, you take the most popular software product. It's a database, right? It's mostly used, most used software product is database. You store data, right? Database is essentially a mathematical model. It's completely math. The roots are in math. A lot of software design is rooted in math. So these designers do a lot of math. They model the software, things like that. But these days also there are a lot of tools which will help in designing. So design aspect also is now very few people, if at all, they work with paper and pen. They use computer for design as well today.
Wait, but so basically they just like draw out what the product is gonna look like and what it'll be and like the
Yeah.
then isn't that super easy because like do they draw like for example Microsoft Office, let's say Microsoft Word at the top they have that blue rectangle with all the stuff on it. Do they basically just design that and like
No,
write
that
the
is
equation for all
no,
the
that's not. That is very
parameters and everything?
simple. Those are all.
That's like something even my classmates could do.
Yeah, that is too simple. That's not the idea of design. Design means they first collect the requirements. They first, so the product managers tell what the market needs, right? They tell what the product should look like for it to be saleable in the market. So that's where the story starts. So the product managers identify the requirements, then they work with the developers, the designers, basically. In a lot of companies, the difference between design and development is very thin. Design and development are done by the same teams typically. So, so these product managers provide the requirements, and the designers start with the requirements and start enhancing the requirements. So they start creating stories. They are called user stories in one kind of development environment called agile. There are what are called as user stories. So you start by saying, as a user, I want to see a button clicking on which I will be directed to a login prompt. So that is a story. That is called a user story. Easy to understand, not too complicated.
So they basically come up with requirements. But
Yeah,
couldn't that's like
requirements.
the outside people make those?
Yeah,
like feedback.
that's like being like a bossy person.
Yeah.
Like this
Whoa.
to happen now.
Right. So product managers give the requirements because, yeah, that is bossy, right? This world works like that. You have to, every person in this world has to serve others, right? So you can view it as bossy in one way, but in reality, or a better attitude towards it is that you're serving others, you're helping others. The users are telling you what they need, and you're trying to cater to their needs. That's how we should look at it. It might sound a little bossy, but we should always understand that it's a requirement that we are trying to meet. It's help that we are providing, right?
Because actually, the user usually gives feedback on your product.
Yes.
Like some products, they have something like give us feedback, and so that feedback actually helps the product get more better.
Yes,
And
that's
then
right.
more customers, more money, more profit.
Yeah, that's right. So what happens after development is, once a product is fully developed, that means, so the design, in the design phase, the engineers take the requirements, they come up with user stories, they then come up with functional requirements. That means a detail of how the code should be written. To that level, they make documents, design documents. They are called design documents. So they do all that, and then the developers take those designs. Yeah. So the developers take those designs and then convert those designs into code. So that means they write code in programs, software programs in Python or Java or things like that.
And then there should be a lot of developers, right?
Yeah, there are lots of developers.
More than everybody else.
That's not true. That is not
that's
true.
basically the origin.
That is the origin, and it's the most powerful part of the company. But there are more number of, like in the previous slide, I think we talked, right? 76,000 employees, only 35% of them are in engineering. And in the engineering, there is development, there is QA, there is tech ops. So the development may be just maybe 10% of the company. That's all. Right? We saw that last time. So though it's a very important function of an organization, it is not a significant part of the organization in terms of numbers, in terms of the people strength. So the developers take the designs and convert it into code, and now you have a working product. And the product goes through QA, quality assurance. So these quality assurance engineers test the product. So they come up with different kinds of tests. They think a lot. How, okay, this guy, just like some people keep on cornering others, right? You say something and they just annoy you by asking a question that will make you look bad. Did you ever face that kind of thing? They make you look bad by asking you different kinds of questions. So that is what happens in testing, product software testing, basically.
They do that to the thing.
To the product. So they think in different ways. How can I make this product fail? Can I make, will this work? Will it work if I do this? Will it work if I do that?
Oh, it's like make sure it has no kinks.
Yeah. So for instance, so the idea is to find bugs even before the customers find the bugs.
Because if like there's bugs, then if the customer actually finds it, then they'll form bad opinions about that.
Exactly. The product's reputation will go bad. They will no longer buy the product. So that's the reason why it is very important to find the bugs right at the design stage itself. So there are some tools, like there's a tool, the concept is called model checking. That again is very abstract, like math, very close to math. So that is to find bugs in the design phase itself, right? So the sooner you find the bugs, the less costly it is, right? By the way, do you know what is a bug?
Yeah, it's like a problem.
A virus.
Virus is normal.
Yeah.
A bug is like a problem or a defect in the code.
Yeah, it's a
Or-
defect, it's a
Yeah.
problem, it's an issue. Huh?
Error.
Ever?
Error.
Error. Yeah, that's right. It's an error in the code. You know why it is called a bug?
Because they bite.
Because of
our
the
back.
debugging. You
Yeah,
have to debug it. Debugging means fix
Yeah, it's called debugging. But why is it called debugging?
yeah. Debugging is the process of finding and removing bugs from the program. But the word debugging comes from the word bug. But where does the word bug come from?
I have no idea.
Well, is
Well,
it like
most
how?
Well, most people think like bugs as bad.
You have to speak
Sorry.
up.
Most people think that like bugs are bad, and they crawl around and make like an issue in something. And bugs that are in a computer, they would like call, like, not actually, but like they would go around the whole website and make issues wherever they go.
Yes, that's a good guess, but that's not the correct guess. You're right. Bugs are really annoying and they cause a lot of problems.
Pests.
They are pests in one sense, but that is not the reason why they are called bugs. They are called bugs because I'll show you something. You heard about Grace Hopper?
No.
Grace Murray Hopper. She was an American computer scientist, one of the first programmers of lady programmers. She was a pioneer of computer programming who invented one of the first linkers.
What's a linker?
Linker is a program which links pieces of code, programs, different programs.
But can't you just write them all on the same?
It requires a lot of, no, it's not that simple. It is a little more involved than that. So
like making sure the code
So,
runs one after
there's an
another.
interesting story. Okay, let us look at the images. Okay.
Did the problem look like a bug?
I'm trying to find the. Okay, let us look at this. Okay, that's it's not bringing up the correct image. Okay,
Wait,
let us
what
look
image?
at. Okay, so Grace Hopper. In fact, even today there is something called as Grace Hopper Conference. It's a famous conference for women in computing. So a lot of students try to attend that conference. It's a privilege, not it's a privilege to attend that conference. So there is an application process. I used to be a judge for the conference for one of the
Judge?
years. Yes,
Why do you need a judge a conference?
they a lot of students send proposals, right from high school students to master students and
Middle
graduate
schools
students.
too?
I did not see middle school students, but high school students, yes, I did see a lot of applications.
Ninth graders?
Mostly from 11th and 12th grades.
Yeah, because they're older.
Yeah. So okay, so they're debugging the origins of bug. Maybe this article will have an image.
Wait, what is the image like? Wait, how does it matter what they call it? I mean,
So she actually, the program was not, see, in olden days, the computer used to have, no, it doesn't have the image.
but why does it matter what I name it? Like, if the world was full of, or if I was born back then, I could have named it, I don't know, I could have named it erasers. And then we could call it de-erasing. Or something that doesn't already have a word. Why does it matter if we call it bug or not? Or we could call it test or error or issue or defect.
So in olden days, right, the computer was very different. So people used to hold a ream of paper tape. So the program used to be on a paper tape.
A reel of paper?
Yeah, paper tape with punched holes and things like that. That's the reason why I was trying to look for that image, but it's not showing up. So Grace Hopper was actually a programmer working with this paper programs.
So you
Programs
insert
stored
the
on,
paper into
yeah, you insert the paper and things like that. So her program was not working for some reason. So she was wondering what's happening. Why is my paper not functioning? Why is my program not working as expected? And then she found out that there was a moth, there was a bug which was sitting on the paper.
a real one?
A real one.
Ah.
Which was causing the bug, the paper, the program on the paper to not work as expected. So she said, "Oh, it's a bug, which caused my program not to work." So from that time onwards, the word bug came into existence. Even today, after so many years, I think that word was coined back in 1947. So it's almost 70 years, even today.
Wow.
So Grace Hopper is a icon for women in computing. So the
Just because she thought of the bug?
No, she was one of the first programmers. She really, you saw that, right? She invented in the Wikipedia. Try to read up about her, Grace Hopper. So, see, like
she invented one of the first linkers.
Yeah, she invented one of the first linkers, and then she contributed a lot to the software industry. So read about her. That's an interesting. She has an interesting story to tell. So coming back to our software organization. So that is quality assurance, right? Quality assurance engineers try to find bugs, try to make the program break some way or the other. So that is QA. So why is it important to find the bug at an early stage?
So that when it gets developed, if they find a bug there, then you're gonna have to go all the way back down and
Right,
start from
exactly,
scratch.
exactly. So one of my
Then
one of
should
the teams, they worked a lot, and then finally, when we were talking, when we were discussing, I discovered that there was a fundamental flaw in the design. They were almost ready to be done with the project. And then I discovered a very fundamental issue.
did you get in trouble because you made everybody do it over again?
Yeah, they had to do all over again, right? So that is the reason why every effort should be made to find the bugs right at the beginning. As you progress through the code, the cost of bugs becomes more and more. It increases
Then
through the
shouldn't-
software life cycle.
Shouldn't QA be one of the first terms?
Yeah,
Steps.
so yes, you're right. So in olden days, QA used to start after the product was in a reasonable shape, at least. But these days, that's not the case. QA and development happen hand in hand, almost hand in hand.
Wow.
The cycles are faster, the feedback cycles are much, much faster. So that is one of the key concepts of agile programming, what is called as agile. You know the meaning of agile?
Like fast and flexible.
Yeah, fast and flexible. So the trend in software development is fast and flexible, called agile.
Oh, like that's why people think Macintosh or MacBook is really good because it's super fast processor and it's really flexible. 'cause
No,
it's
that's not the
compatible
idea.
with many things.
That's not the idea of agile. The idea of agile is not about machines, but about people. The key idea about agile is people.
Like they're flexible and they're fast. Like how
Yeah.
Wait, so how can they change the people? Because that means you have to change every single person who uses the product.
Yes. Yeah, if you change the process, the thought process also changes. The people also change automatically, right?
The users or the coders?
The coders, the
Oh.
users are being served. You change the servers, not the serve, right? They are the consumers. So don't try to change the consumer, right? What did Mahatma Gandhi say about the consumer? He said that customer is the king. He is the most important person who walks into your your store. So customer is the king. Don't try to change the customer. Change yourself. Change the server.
Change what you can.
Yeah, change what you can do. So agile programming is about changing the process, and by process, you're changing the people. See, yeah.
Wait, but isn't QA kind of useless? Because no matter how many times you keep on testing it, there's always going to be some things that aren't tested.
That is right. That is right. There are various ways to make sure that the testing is as comprehensive, as complete as possible.
Just test it over and over and over again.
No, not testing over and over is one way, is one small point. But the more important point is like there's something called code coverage. How many lines of your code are covered by this test?
Can't you just ring the whole thing? Now that linkers are invented, do the whole thing 10 times, each time testing a different thing.
Yeah, that is the idea. You need to test each time a different thing. You have to write tests to cover the code.
Is it like how when you're filtering water, like when you have a water cup and you're checking to see if it's filtered or not, it'll check for lead in one, and then it'll check for chlorine, and then it'll check for something else, but there will always be chemicals, undiscovered ones, that won't be checked.
Yes, so there could still be bugs, right? Like today, you see so many bugs are still there.
Bugs in the real world.
Yeah, so any product that you use today has bugs, right?
Yeah, like
Uh,
how
there are some limitations, there are some bugs which keep getting fixed with each release.
like glitches.
Yeah, glitches and bugs and then serious problems.
Yeah.
So
Glitches happen in some unprofessional games, like bugs, which sometimes they have to.
So then how do people make sure that there are no glitches and stuff?
by testing in various ways, by model checking.
How
There-
many ways?
Or maybe by being the user, because user is mostly the one who gets to discover all the glitches, because they're the one who's using it.
So you pretend to be the user and come and look at it?
Yeah, you pretend to be the user. That is one way. There are various phases of testing. Actually, each one of these can be discussed over a lifetime if you really are serious about it, because it's a career, right? Product manager is a lifetime career for some people. Program management is a lifetime career for some people. Design and development is a lifetime career. So you can go on and on and on and on discussing about these. There's so much depth in it. But yeah, your questions are in the right direction. So you have to explore. So for instance, today we talked about Grace Hopper, right? So instead of leaving, the next session on software industry is after 3 or 4 months, right? Because it's on the
Right.
5th Saturday. So during this time, instead of just leaving it there, try to do your own research. Like we talked about Grace Hopper. So read about her. She's an icon for women in computing. In olden days, women were not even allowed to work. I mean, were not
Until
allowed to
after World
vote.
War II and stuff.
Yeah, and in that kind of environment, she was the first programmer, and she was in the Navy, right? She was in the defense. So that's a substantial role that she played. So try to read up about her, get inspiration from her. And similarly, read up about program management, product management. Um, then we talked about how you design a software product, like what are requirements, software requirements. Read them up, read up about them. Then product requirement documents, functional specifications. Try to read about all of these and enhance your knowledge. So that's how you improve, right? And then quality assurance. You had so many good questions. You asked me about why program management, whether program management can be replaced by artificial intelligence. So that's a very good question. Start thinking and then search on Google and try to find answers, right? Similarly, you asked me about what are the way, how do you keep on testing again and again, and what kind of tests you do. So try to Google search.
Okay.
So next time when we meet after 3 or 4 months, we will talk more about all those things, right? So it's time's up for today's session. So we'll end it here. Okay.
With the shlokma?
Uh, that's okay. We'll stop
yeah.
here. We are anyway. Okay, I'll stop the recording. Actually, I need to stop the Zoom session itself. So I'll end the. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.